so. Okay. Okay. So, can you hear me, guys? Well, something is wrong. Also, my first time live streaming. So, hopefully now everything's working. Okay. Okay, type something in the chat if you hear me, because I'm new to this whole streaming stuff. So I know I don't speak only to myself. That would be nice. So. Let's see. See, yes, now it's working. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now everything is working. So, hello guys. Today we will talk about my tournament experience in May. It was a quite tough tournament experience because the biggest tournament so far for this year's was actually in May. So we talk about the London HEMA Open, then we talk about the Bratislava Fecht 8, the Masters tier class, and we talk about the Bavarian Championships. So today I picked out only my losses. So we go over just the losses. We don't look at the videos where I actually performed quite well. Because I didn't see the videos so far. I just overlooked it because to look for cool snippets I can make edits out of it, but I actually didn't review the videos now, so this will be also my first time I will look at those fights. So we will talk about 3 fights from London, we will have 3 fights from Bratislava Fecht, and we will watch the finals of the Bavarian Championships, and we will watch the finals of the London HEMA Opening, all in Longsword. And if it's not too long, then we probably will watch the Saber finals or my Saber mistakes as well. So if you have some questions about the tournaments, about the rules, the experience, just type it into the chat. I try to read all the messages. And yes, hopefully you hear me quite well. If something is wrong with the audio, just type it into the chat. Then I maybe, just maybe, can fix it because I'm quite new to the whole streaming OBS stuff. So yeah. So the first fight you already see here is the fight against, I have the names and HEMA ratings, against Alexander Makarov. He is from, I think he is from, yeah, UK, but he has like the patch from HEMA Praha. I don't know a bit of the HEMA Praha guys, how they fence. And I actually lost this this match, but it was quite close. Yeah, just before we start about London and about Bratislava stuff, the interesting part today will be that we have 2 quite opposite rule sets today, because London have an afterblow or an weighted double rule set, and Bratislava Fecht has right of way. So those 2 rule sets are quite the opposite from each other. And it will be interesting because I think that I fenced a lot of afterblow in the past 2 months, 3 months, a lot of afterblow. Even the Viennese Championships were afterblow rule sets, and Fecht back before that were afterblow, and I think the Gladiatorius tournament in January as well. And you will see it in the Bratislava clips, it's really hard to get along in right of way when you're just always doing the afterblow stuff. So just hopped quite into it. Like, let's see the rules first. So we have like a 3-minute time frame. We have 10 points cap, and we have an weighted afterblow, quite weighted doubles. How this whole works is that you, after the ref says stop, you have like when both have like a hit, and one is hitting to the head and the one is hitting to the arms, for example, then you get 3 -2, and the one with the more valuable hit area gets the points, you know. Yeah, and you have quite a nerve when it comes to one-handed strikes and hand snipes, and this is a quite important point here, because this makes hand sniping and one-handed Geisel action quite interesting, I would say, because they are quite risky, and in this kind of rule sets, people just yeah, people just ignore them and strike straight to the head, and then you will lose a lot of points. Yeah, so just go into the first fight. Let's see how I did. I'm a bit scared. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, just wish it again. Yeah, so like classic mistake. Like you see here, you see it's quite good. You see here he's going into some sort of an elbow and presenting his whole target area here. You know, and I'm a quite offensive fencer, and when I see some sort of this, I'm assuming he will be a little bit slower than me. That means I can make a straight thrust, and the thrust will connect before he is like pushing with the hands up and blocking the thrust. And this wasn't the case here, because he is just baiting it. You see it in the motion. See it quite good in the motion that I'm a little bit too far away, and I'm also in kind of an elbow position. So when I started, he baited it, pushed it aside, and then straight to the head for 3 points. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, but I would argue, so the referees tell here that that was like 3-3, but I probably would argue when we see it again. Yeah, I don't know if, oh, it hits, but it's right here. You see it a little bit. It connects to the mask. He pushed away and then got the afterblow. Yeah. So my mistake. Yeah. Yeah. Let's watch this again. He's not even fainting, in my opinion. And I was thinking, okay, he was just raising his arms, and I go for a hanging guard, because at this point, when he's like raising his guard, he could probably do a lot of things. And the way I manage this is that I'm trying to go as high and use my sword kind of as a shield, you know. And he's actually adapting quite good, because he's like seeing this quite early on, and then just straight the Zwerg straight to the torso. And then he's quite lucky that I actually miss the head in the afterblow. Yeah. Yeah. And the refs are actually seeing it quite well. Yeah. No, this is actually not Staniszewicz. It's let's hop into it. Is Alexander Makarov. Alexander Makarov. So sorry for mispronouncing your names. Yeah. Yeah. Here do actually exactly the same, raising the arms. So he is actually also kind of doing the same, but he's doing it a little bit better, because he sees it quite early on and then instantly goes for counter-zwerg. So we both hit into the torso. Yeah, straight up double. And this is, yeah. Yeah. So actually the right thing to do here. So you see we're both in range. He's performing a prepping step here. And when he's raising his arms, I once again was like thinking, okay, he's doing the same thing as usual. And when it comes to attack in preparation, this is like the perfect thing to do so, because when he's doing twice the motion over and over again, I was like, okay, I take it first one and he probably would do it again. So he's raising his arms, and what I do is immediately strike into preparation, in this case with a thrust. Yeah, and the thrust connects quite good, and then I receive the afterblow to the head. And this is like, I don't want to jump that early into the rule sets, but this is the peak difference between and first touch and right of way rule set, except to an afterblow rule set. Because in an afterblow rule set, striking preparation isn't that deep. Because you always can make the afterblow. And then it's quite an, yeah, let's say, a thing for the judges to see or to count that in this example, he's raising his guard, I'm thrusting into preparation, hitting, and then the judges perfectly see this. He's not any longer, in the moment I strike him, he's not any longer raising his arms. So therefore, he is allowed to continue his attack. In the moment he is still doing this, then the afterblow would be late. But I hit him, and then he instantly strikes the head. So therefore, yeah, I should have defended myself for the up team. But yeah, perfectly fine decision here. And I think I didn't remember, I don't know if I remember this right, but I think thrust to the torso also 3 points. And so strike to the head and thrust to the torso, both 3 points, so 0 points. Yeah. Hopefully I remember this correctly. Yeah. So no points so far. 2 points for him, I think. Okay, this was late after the halt, but I don't think that the first thing was anything. Yeah, I don't know if this hits, because you see right here it bends over the crossguard, but then it also slips away. So I think this was, yeah, and then classic Twer. Let's see what the judges say. Yeah, I would argue that neither of us hit here. It just looked the way we hit because we both connected in the middle, and then the blades just flop each over, and it looks like we connect, but it just like it actually was nothing. Complaining about something, I don't know what. Blah blah. Okay, I don't think that there was anything. yeah. I think I connected to the hand there. I connected, but I think it was just a tippy tap. It was like really, yeah, I connected definitely, but even for me in this situation, I was like, I don't know. Yeah, so this was like actually cleaner, and it's actually more of the thing you should do. So now he again goes into his high guard, and I see it because he's again doing a prepping step here. Oh, pointing with the finger, you don't see anything. He's doing a prepping step here, and in the moment I'm instantly prepping, and he's raising again. He's doing the same stuff. I go for the torso. I think I definitely tried to go to the hands, hit the torso, and then stepping out, parry the afterblow. So this is definitely the way to go. In an afterblow rule set, you don't want, when you hit in preparation, you definitely don't want to commit too much, you know, because when you are too committed and you are too close into his range, you have the problem that he's striking you in the afterblow with two head, definitely. And this happens at this tournament specifically quite often. Yeah, so you need to be careful with the strikes in preparation, and probably it's safer to either making some structure breaking strikes or thrusts so that he's not able to fight back, or get the first parry in and then riposte. And again, I don't think that I hit that thrust. Yeah, to the crosscut, and then get into the torso. Bum, bum. He parried it nicely. Yeah. Yeah, and again, just hard to watch. Hard to watch. At this point, I actually quite knew I was behind, and when you have like limited time, and they even didn't stop the time between the bouts, so the time just runs through. They only stop it when the judges are not agreeing on the decision. And in this situation, I was like, he's so widely open here, and he's like a low guard. But the problem here is, and this is what I do quite often, is that I'm too far away. You know, you see, that's too much space. When I'm extending my arms, I'm nowhere, I'm not even close enough to hit his hands or something. And from there, I was like, okay, committing full in and just rushing in. And this was just, it's just stupid for me. And he did it perfectly. Yeah, stupid. And he's actually doing it quite good. You know, you can't even hate, because he's just making it first. He's pairing it with the flat, and then he's also doing Zwerchhau in the way I also like to do it, because normally people are just tending to have the Zwerchhau like here in front of their face. But when you're dealing with opponents who's just rushing in, like I do here, yeah, it's easier to train it like this, that. And I have also solo drill video on this channel where I show exactly the Zwerchel like this, where I do like Zwerchel, Zwerchel, exactly like that. Because when I'm so close and he would do it on a head level, I've just pushed him away with my hands. So yeah. Yeah, definitely. I got maybe 2 rounds ago here. Definitely had just break my mind. But it's good. And I think I hit him I think this was like the strike where I hit him in the groins. I was like really sorry about that. Somehow. By accident. It was just, yeah. Oh. Okay. Then continue. Yeah. I was actually getting that. He again raised his arms. I was like, okay, I back this up. Then he strikes. And with those strikes, you see the angle. He's going really low, and then he makes an overhaul. So I know that he probably won't strike to my head. But with this angle, it's hard to see. Because now suddenly he is turning his sword last second, hits me, I think, to the shin, yes, and I strike in the back of the head. And this was quite a discussion actually at the tournament, because you should not strike to the back of the head. But in this situation, he was completely committing into it. I'm trying to block, and then as he strikes to the leg, he completely turning his head, the back of the head, to my strike. So yeah, I should have stopped, but this was like, it was so fast that yeah. So I definitely got the point, but it was a little bit of discussion because he hits the lower opening, and then I strike to the head. But it was quite a discussion, I remember. Yeah, it was quite a discussion, and it was like, huh. Yeah, and then they repeated the exchange. That was like quite a tough decision, but it's, sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. Yeah, I think we got some white card. I don't know. I'll be honest, I'm never reading the penalties of tournaments. I just, yeah, sometimes you can hit the back of the head, sometimes you don't. It's nothing that I do on purpose. It happens by accident. So all the people also who strike me in the head or the back of the head, they never do it on purpose. They're just in that motion, and I'm just flicking to the side, and then it happens. So it's yeah. Yes, I will do some stuff for beginners as well. Probably next week I will do beginners footwork workout. And I also have the low gear stuff you can check out. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Antonius. It's just bad luck. This happens sometimes. This is part of the tournament. This is also where I would recommend to have like a hard shell back of the head protection, so not like soft foam, so they're like really plastic shells injected, because this happens quite a lot of tournaments. yeah. So I think you were James. I think you are this one. You are the other judge, and I understand it's a tough decision, but this is something, yeah, that happens, and when the bout needs to be repeated, then the bout needs to be repeated. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, stupid as always. I think I was like, don't see it from this angle, but yeah, going for the shield how, receiving a head to the legs. Yeah, so this was okay. Yeah. This was like the last exchange, so therefore a good tactical decision from him, because now I think he was like 2 points ahead, and what he was trying to do is to, I think he was like, where am I? Like here. So what he's like doing, I needed to go for a high target because it was 2 points behind, and he just needed to get 1 point less. So the best way to kind of game the rule set, is that when you see someone strike into your head and don't go low with the strike, like really high, then you just go to the leg or the torso. So the other one just gets the point. But from a tactical perspective, he loses the exchange but wins the fight. So you can do this. I do this too. It's perfectly fine. It was a tough match. Yeah, but it was a good one. It was quite fun. I thought it would be harder, but it was actually okay. I was quite enjoying it. I was a bit upset after this match because it was like a lot of, yeah, I had like the most problem with the rule sets, and I'm getting into this. Yeah, but it was a clear win for him. So nothing to add. You see, you don't have that many misjudging from the judges. Only the one thing with the strike to the back of the head, but yeah. Happens, Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next fight. Oh, yeah. So this was also the main event for me. So this is for people who don't know him. This is Mark Wilkie. I think he is at the moment place 11 of the world. Sorry, 15 of the world when it comes to longsword. And I once fought him in Fechtberg in Poland in the team tournament, and the team tournament was quite fun. This was like the first match we had in the fight in the tournament, where it's like a little bit more intense, I would say, and not just fun playing around. It's about actually winning the fight. Yeah. So let's have a look. I was kind of flat, but it's hard to see from her angle. Yeah, so I think somewhere in the rules there stands that flat hits don't count. I think. I think so. I don't know. Scoring hit quality. only attacks with the edge point of the pommel scores points. Yeah, happens. Happens. But it was a clean, I would call it prellhau to the masks, so it's okay. Yeah, also clean. And this is where an interesting point comes in, because this is where hesitation sometimes can break your neck in fencing. And this was like, when you see this, this is already one feint. I'm backing up, I don't know what happens. Then again, he's doing another feint. I'm raising his guard, I'm raising the guard. So he's already 2 feints in. And then he sees I make a wide opening here, wide opening. He goes to the hands and then perfectly withdraw from the exchange. Because this is quite interesting, because he's doing it with the false edge, but the strike, the direction where he strikes from is also the direction he needs to parry. And this is what is in fencing very important, because you always want to strike in the direction where you also have to parry. You know, he's striking from left to right, and my sword is going to the right side. So it's just hitting the hands and then parry it. Perfectly executed. Perfectly executed. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. just try to imitate his it wasn't even a Shilha, it was, or wasn't a Shilha? Yeah, it was a Shilha. I tried to imitate his Shilha going high, effortless, and goes to the other side. And then, yeah. No, it was a hit. And this is also, sorry, I have to interrupt so many times, because it's actually, you can learn so many things out of this. Because when I strike with the shield, many people would strike to this side. When I'm blocking like this, I tend to always strike to the left, you know, because parry it, then the strike glances off to this side. I strike to the right side, and as I mentioned a few minutes before, when I strike to this side, I also can parry in this side. So what he's doing is, he knows that, and instantly not going to this side, he strikes to that side, you know, and then therefore I'm just too slow for the afterblow. And I think this was like, he hits me, and then I make again. This is like, it's a little bit, but I'm preparing another strike. So from this perspective, I would have needed to instantly strike. I pull a little bit back, renew the attack, and then I even strike with the flat. So yeah, no points for me. Yeah. Yeah, good decision, yeah. Yeah, this was like the one strike I actually hit, because then he's doing it again with a prepping step. So he's again prepping around again. Already during a prepping step, I was thinking, okay, we'll do the same thing, make a lot of feints, and then I strike again to the hands and withdraw. And this is again what I said. I strike to the left because I know he will strike to my right. So I strike to the left and then parry it with an Abziehen. Yeah, and then this was like a little bit too late of an afterblow. Then this would be actually landed, but it's out of tempo. And now we have like the same situation again. This is what's really hard when you are coming from an environment where people are tend to fight for the first hit or for the first attention. This is kind of frustrating, and you need to adapt to it. And this is quite one of the hardest things you can do in fencing, is to adapt to this kind of behavior, because you need to thrust, and in the second you landed the thrust, you instantly need to move into an, I call it an Absetzen movement to get the strike out of the way. And in this specific situation is that I'm not thrusting to the right side, I'm thrusting to the left. And therefore I don't have any coverage from my blade. So you can't do this, but an afterblow rule set, this is nearly always will happen that you probably will haven't done it. Yeah. I think I thrusted him quite nasty into the neck. He goes for the Shilho. Yeah, it's quite tough. And then you thrust for strike to the head, 0 points. This was like the one I was like, I would have wanted this, but it's perfectly fine. Yeah, and I needed to straighten my blade, I think, as well. Okay. Okay, let's watch this. Let's watch this again. So he makes his shield. How-ish I block. I think I block it with an hanging, going to the other side, and then this is so hard to see. You see, this is just tough because the swords are quite bendy, you know. They bend over his parry, so he's doing everything wrong. Everything right. He's doing everything right. And Zwerg to the head, bends over his parry, and then I'm just like scratching his cheek. And then from there he strikes, I think, to my hands, arms, and up here. Somehow managed to hit his leg. Yeah, it's chaotic. It's chaotic. So this judge says, a hit to the head. She probably says, well, that wasn't enough. Yeah, she's like pointing, it was perfectly fine and correct. Yeah. So probably you can give it free for free, but when it's not even weakest point at this point. I don't know. I think I hit into the cross guard. I'm not sure. Yeah, hit into the cross, and then I received the shield to the shoulder. Yeah, maybe the afterblow to the arms, but well, that's interesting. That's interesting. I probably would say that the first one wasn't into the cross guard. So I go into the cross guard, and this is the interesting part, because even though she says, I hit, or I could hit. This is the important part when it comes to afterblow resets. This is important. What he's doing is he's not pulling back. He's not pulling back his arms. He instantly extend them. And therefore it is in tempo, you know? And this is so hard when you're not used to this kind of instantly reposting and you are coming from a first hit environment, that you are needing to get out of these motions, you know, this attack and prep stuff, you know, to charge your strike. You always want to extend instantly. You get hit, you instantly extend, no matter what. And yeah, he did it perfectly. Also, Wiki has like an amazing defense. I was like standing in front of him and didn't even coming close to actually frost him with a first detention frost or something like this. Yeah, same as usual. I was thinking, okay, again to the hands. I hit the hands, and he instantly riposts to the head. Yeah. Yeah. Same again. It's just making way too much of him standing here, clearly out of range, making a flying flash preparation kind of stuff. Then he's just blocking it and goes with the false edge to the head. And from there, it's just he hits here, and then I'm pulling back, renew the attack, go to the hands. Doesn't matter. So you could have 3 points or at least 1 point. Yeah. Well, it was quite fun. It was quite fun. It was like also like really challenging. He's like a really good fencer. Okay, let's go to the next one. This was actually my first elimination. I didn't come far in this tournament because, again, so many really good high-level fencers. And also, this is something, it's also quite challenging, and you don't even notice. You don't even notice is I don't even know one fencer at this event. So it's completely new people, completely new fencing culture. Everything is completely new. And this was like also quite challenging because I don't even know anyone. And when you don't know people, you tend to do stupid stuff. This is what I do all the time. Then I do a lot of this hanging motions and playing it safe because you never know what the people are doing. When I'm heading to local tournaments or to people I know, they have a kind of certain fencing mentality, you know? And when they have like this fencing mentality, you know them, you know what they're doing, you know what they do and what they are not doing. And you can adapt to this. But when you're completely new, everyone is completely random. Yeah, James, yes, it is challenging, but I think at this bout or at this tournament, the afterblow time window was actually okay. It was okay. I have seen a lot worse, and I think this was definitely, when it comes to afterblow, the tournaments with the better judging. So all the decisions, except for the one with the turning his head to my blade, back of the head to my blade. It's like one decision out of what, like 100, 150 at the tournament. It's fine. It's completely fine. So this is the last one, because it dropped out, and this was actually quite close. And we have the score here, so you can see. Let's see. I think this one was against Jeffrey Will, also quite high ranked. I think Jeffrey also in the top 200. It was quite high. But this was like one of the fights that was like I could have won that. But he's again kind of different offensive style. You will see it. You will see it. Okay. I think at this point, like here, he was the judge was telling me that I already collected all penalty cards possible for the tournament. So every next penalty card would be instantly a red card, and I would have reduced points. And it was actually quite fun and quite intense also, because this was like the first tournament the visit I was on that when you have like when you fence Saber, Rapier, and Longsword, and you have like a penalty card in Saber at that day, it just heads over to Rapier and it heads over to Longsword. So I was like fencing 3 tournaments on this weekend. I was like collecting most of the penalties at the first day, and then he was like telling me, oh well, you have like all the penalties, so when you're doing one thing wrong, you will instantly get a red card. It was like, good to know. So this was like quite rough. Don't see this at other tournaments. Yeah. Okay, let's start. Yeah, this was... He was doing the same stupid stuff I did against Alexander. He's just way out of distance, thrusting in, parry, and then again riposte to the head. Yeah. Okay, quite interesting. So I don't think that the first one was through. So I think the first one, I'm going in with a shield. It's too short. Then he's pairing it, going with the riposte, but I think into the cross guard. Might be through into the cross guard, then going with the Oberhau again, and now again. Bending with the flat over his flat might cost something, and then he was striking. It was nothing. In my opinion, it was just a lot of blade contact into each other and no quality. But let's see what the judges say. I think both were like talking. Yeah, so no exchange. Yeah, both hitting the hands, nothing special. I don't know. In my opinion, again, quite nothing. Going with faint right. Again, going into high parry. Then I hitting yeah, definitely hitting to the hand, and then parry the after blow. Yeah, and then no exchange. But again, you need to, before we criticize judges, even I here in slow-mo, you know, I'm hitting, you know, but I can't even see if I hit over the blade from him or hitting in the crossguard, you know, just hitting here into the crossguard. And maybe this was already too short, only because the sword bends in some direction. Doesn't mean anything, you know. This is a feather from CD Forge, if you want to know the brand of the sword. Yeah, no exchange. I don't know. At this point, I think I hit him, maybe. Going in with an initial Zwerg, yes. Then he tries to overhaul straight to the head. I block it. And then I'm getting absolutely lucky. This is like the one thing that you also have luck. You know, 1 millisecond of a second later, and this would straight go to my head. You know, this just I catch his tip, and then strike to the elbow. You know, it's just unlucky for him. Yeah, I think he was like, maybe that he hit me. Yeah, that held was like into the cross, into the hands, and this is always kind of a rough thing, because when you're like getting a strike into that cross, you probably feel some sort of an impact on your glove, but you can't tell. So when the judges are asking you, when there was a strike into your cross, and the judges are asking, are you getting hit into the hand? It's not bad sportsmanship if you say, I don't know, I just feel something on the cross, even though you felt it on the hands, because you see how the blades are bending over the cross guards and so on. This happens all the time. So when the strike hits the cross and then afterwards maybe hits the hand, or you just feel the vibration on your glove, it's not when the judge says, are you hitting the hands? You say no. It's okay. You can do this, because it's really hard to tell even for yourself. Yeah, and I told him at this point I was like, okay, he hit me into the hands, you know. But yeah. And again, again. Just he's raising his guard, for the 20th time of this day, I'm just going for the safe one, you know. Going into the hanging, and he changed the direction. And even though I hit and don't get hit, I think he hits me to the head. Yeah, I think. Yeah, a hit with the tippy tap, with the flat. No, I hit with the flat. I lost it. Wonderful. Where are we? I think it was like there. Yeah, doing this. probably hit me into the head. Get the point for that somehow. And again, people, don't be as stupid as I am. Only because someone is raising their hand. I mean, look at this. Where do I parry? You know, this just at least bring the sword like here, you know? But this is like going into the crown against an opponent who is not even that tall, you know? That's just... Yeah, you can also say that you feel the contact, but you don't feel about the quality. But the thing is, when you say you feel the contact, but you don't feel the quality, the judges just care for if you feel the hit. You know, so that it depends on the judges and the rule set you're fighting in, and also the culture, fencing culture. But if you don't know, you know, just it's not wrong to say nothing. You know? I don't know. Yeah. And again, raising my arms, he's striking into preparation. I think he's hitting my arms. Yeah, hitting my arms. Hitting beneath my cross guard, hit the heart. Playing a distance. Yeah, but again, it's not. It's just raising the arms, making a feint, hopefully that he is moving to that side so I can strike to my favorite left side. And then, yeah, he didn't even hit me, but it's okay. Yeah, it wasn't a cut to the shoulder, but it's okay. Yeah, I think this was good. Yeah, this was just two people want to strike at the same time, hitting the hands. And this is the point, you know, this is the point what I'm just trying to make here, is this is where you can spot the difference between an advanced fencer and an next level high level fencer. Because high level fencer don't make those attack and prep stuff. They don't make those raising the arm stuff. They don't do it, you know? And that's the big difference. Because I was thinking I need to make a move that people make some sort of an opening, and when you know this, you just strike into this because you know there is no threat, and then he's instantly going into the hanging. And this is how you do the hanging. You know, this is good. You know, you bring the blade forward and not here somewhere at the top like me. So he's doing this perfectly well. Maybe I hit him into the roof. I don't know. Yeah, he's again. And this is the thing, you know. At this point, this is like I just do this all the time. And I think that people just notice, you know. People just noticed and they go, he's not even doing any preparation, he's just straight up going into the head, hitting the hands, and then go for the afterwall. Perfectly fine. Hard to see. It's fun that she sees it actually, but it wasn't her perspective. But yeah. 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 Then snipe to the hands. And then quite out of tempo. Yeah. I'll try it again. Yeah, beautiful. I was opening with a Longsword. Goes into the parry. He instantly, and this is the thing you need to, when you want to improve one thing in your fencing, in your personal fencing, that this is the one you can take home from now. He's not preparing anything. He's not going somewhere into a guard. He's just pulling back. Then knows perfectly his perfect defense, and he knows it. You know, he knows it. Going in and instantly go for the head. Perfect. Perfect. Just perfection. Yeah, it was actually sort of, it was 3 points actually. Yeah, I don't know. And at this point, you see, when I do this, yeah, I'm frustrating. I mean, I probably would have hit that, I think. So, yeah, he goes. Maybe. Yeah, maybe hit that. And then maybe hits me in the hand, so 3 for 2. But yeah. Didn't do this once till then. Yeah. And this is where I would say judging definitely cross Zwerg to the side and to the side. So therefore this would be solid 2 points for me. Gets the point because he fought like he struck me to the head. And this is the thing, you know, when it comes to judging, he probably thought that this was to the head, you know, and you can see it that way. Perfectly fine. Because now I'm just, you know, I'm judging here, like in can spot every frame, you know, as I wish. I'm a smart ass, you know, talk about judging. The problem is, I probably in that moment felt the strike on the back of the head because the blade bends over it, you know. And you, in this situation, you're like, it's 8-7, and I'm already frustrated, you know. This is when it was like, okay, well, it was fine. He hit me. But every time you feel the cross guard in the parry, and it's like this, 8-7, you could challenge. And it is 50-50. You could be right, because I challenged a lot of those flat strikes over the cross guard and get right. but this tournament specifically, this was like the one critique point when it comes to London HEMA Open. You don't have any challenge. You don't have video judging. And this was, I think, at least in this stadium, I think it was like at the quarterfinals upward, you have like the video challenge. But at this stadium, you don't. And that's a tough one. That's a tough one, you know? And I was like at that moment, or probably felt that on the head, when it just bends over. And then probably strike to the head. Yeah. No, shoulder, not head. Would have been 2 points for me. But she would have seen it. That's interesting. Maybe a little bit too fast of a judgment at this point. Probably, yes, probably. But you're right, James. But you know, that's the game. That's the game. And then you have something like the last exchange, and now we are back at this. You know, last exchange, 8-7, and with the last exchange stuff and away the target area, you probably can think what happens now. Yeah, and he does it perfectly, because I'm just stupidly rushing in, making an kind of Schiltschlac. He instantly parries to the left, and then I'm just too close. Even though 3-for-2 maximum, and he would win that. I was just instantly using zero. It's fine. Yeah. So 10-7. It was a close match, and thanks to Jeffrey, because he did an amazing job here, and it was like a really tough match, and I probably can't do this once again with him, because this was I think this was like on this tournament, this was like the most even matchup I had at the day, where I say, okay, that was quite even. Yeah, so this was HEMA London Open, and now we are heading to Bratislava Fecht. And the first opponent will be Andrej Filip. I think I'm pronouncing this correctly. And he was like one of the fencers. I was like thinking, this is a nice matchup, because we are the same height, kind of have the same style. But at this point, I was still in the afterblow mindset, and this is hard to switch, and you will see it. Because you will see a lot of stuff I do here that is usually good if you do afterblow stuff, but not when you're doing right of way. And for those of you who don't know right of way that well, it means basically when one of two fencers initiate the first attack, he has within one fencing type, with one tempo, the right to hit. And the first intention hit is the one I want to. The first intention hit is the one hit I want to have. You know, so now you even go for risky hand snipes, one-handed action, doesn't matter. It's everything better than just to go for the afterblow. And yeah, this will be a tough one to watch for me. So before, let's watch it again, because it's an interesting question. So what is the afterblow mindset? The afterblow mindset is that you don't stop fencing when you get hit. You know, And when you're fencing like for after the rule set, the game plan I was using is that it's perfectly fine to want to hit in second intention, you know. And with hitting the second intention, this basically means you go into the center, try to claim the center, and when you hit while claiming the center, it's fine, but you still need to parry post, you know. But if you don't hit, it doesn't matter. You can always go for one or two combinations. So always go in, strike, 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 you know, and you always go for this combination. In right of way, you want to, and you also, when you get attacked, it's always a kind of a nice game plan to try and in this action, you know, just make a counter shield, just make a Zornhau. It might work, and if it fails, doesn't matter. You always get the afterblow, you know. And in right of way, you got priority of parry post, and this is quite interesting because when you have priority of parry post, it's always safer to get the first parry in and then riposte, or you instantly hit in first intention and go all in. This is like the difference from afterblow is more like second, you hit in second intention, and right of way is more like you want to hit in first intention or get the parry riposte always. And you will see that right of way rules at the Bratislava Fecht is way faster. You will see it. It's way faster in the footwork and in the movement. Yeah, wonderful first exchange. So he goes into the middle and then hits the hands, and I'm too late, already too late, and he blocks it. And the thing is, what he's doing here, when I would thrust into that strike, when I thrust, I'm pointing it at the screen. When I thrust into this preparation, in this here attack and prep, you know. Yes, this tournament has right of way. When I would thrust it into this position, I would have priority because he is starting the attack, but he just, this would be called an attack. This would already be an attack. And now he stopped it. I would probably strike or thrust into the preparation, and when the double hit would have occurred, I'll probably get the point. But I'm still in the mindset of an afterblow. I'm going again for this completely useless hanging. He hits me into the hands because he makes a feint, looks at my direction, I going into a high parry, he strikes to the hands perfectly. Couldn't have done better. Yeah. So here again, he's claiming the center and then going. I was going for the parry post, and he is actually, if I have struck a little bit lower, I probably would have got the hands. But then instantly parries, strikes to the hands, and then I go for the afterblow. But the afterblow doesn't matter, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, but you only get the thrust. You only get the counterattack priority if he is interrupting his strike. So beforehand, he's just making a feint in the middle, and when I make a thrust into that feint, I get priority. If you would have just make a straight cut to my hands and would thrust into that, and we have double hit, then he has priority because he initiates the third attack. I was a little bit hard on that, still into the afterblow mindset. Stupid. So 2-0. Doing a one-handed Geisel, and you see the distance, how we stand, how we fence. It's like the space in between us is so much wider than when we fence afterblow. wonderful. Again, wonderful. It's just, this was like the first match at that day. Completely missed the distance. Then just swing. I would have just got straight to the hands, making a far too big movement, missing, and then instantly riposte. Without hesitation, and this is the thing. Without hesitation. He sees I miss it, and the second I miss, he instantly riposts. Perfectly. Wonderful action. Yeah, I tried to copy stupid shit. I think I hit him. Did I hit him? Oh no. And then it's too short, yes, too short, and then riposte. So already 4-0, and my mind was like, I'm gone. I was gone at this point. Yeah, and again. So just don't do it at this point. You see the mistake, I'm raising my arms at a level that don't need to be raised. It's just in London the same as here in Bratislava. It's just useless. Well, it's great to hear that you won a tournament because of my longsword drills. Thanks. But I think it was a bit more than just my longsword solo drills. But thank you. And again, going for second session, 5-0, first match of the day, and my mind was, I was devastated. And it was cool at Bratislava. You got Bratislava Fecht. You got the swords from the tournament. This was actually nice. Yeah. And then the second match. This was against, I think it was Thomas. Yeah, it was. It was Thomas. It was Thomas. I fenced him, I think, once in team tournament in Poland. I don't know. Yeah, just sorry, I was like into. I was something else. Yeah. Yeah, it was. And this is the thing, you don't need to be honest, guys, when you have like 4 judges looking at that. You don't need to be honest, but you can be honest if you like. Yeah, you still have doubles in this comp. You still have doubles. You need to understand rule sets are mainly focused on how do we deal with double hits. So this is like the main point of rule sets. So not only because they are not doubles, because you have right of way, you still have double hits. It's the thing that rules are written how to deal with double hits. If there never been any double hits at a tournament, you probably wouldn't need a rule set. This is like the main point. So you have a lot of doubles in right of way, but the way how it's dealt is just different, you know. Again, and again, going into the middle, and he's not even making a feint, you know. He's just straight up. And I was thinking, again, stupid hanging I'm doing. I don't know why. And then after blow, he even parried the after blow perfectly. I wasn't here. I think that one I got because, yeah. Thrust into the mask, he's just bending over the sword and then didn't even get me. So that was a tough one. And now they're discussing because he was he was thinking he hit me into the head and he had right of way. I'm not that quite into I'm not that quite into point of line. So you have like the thing with the point of line, you right of way. But when you are making a threat with the sword and someone is jumping at you and impaling itself, and even though he's hitting you with the first intention, he didn't secure the center. Therefore, he loses his priority. But in this case, I wasn't point in line. So I think he probably thinks he hit me to the head. They say, well, that's was just bent over the parry. So, yeah. 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 So this is actually a move that is quite safe. You can do this. Is just a false hedge strike to the hands, because in this situation, if he would decided to now attack the head, I probably just kept pulled back and parried it. Yeah. Yeah. And now thrusting too short, too short, and here I already lost right of way, and then he hit me and got the point. Perfectly fine. Yeah, try to make the Geisel also hitting him, but I think that he already was. Yes, he was in. He makes the first threat, therefore has priority. I'm just striking into the priority. He hits me into the head and got the point. Perfectly fine. This is like Masters tier, and they have like 2 judges on each side, so you just can't really complain about the judges in this situation, at this tournament. Yeah, and this is like the same again. I'm still into this. Oh, I can hit into preparation. Completely misunderstand the distance, because when you fence here in Bratislava, you seem to have they all seem to be out of range all the time. And I was thinking, okay, we're definitely out of range. He wouldn't hit me. And then he's like flashing into me. I'm trying to hit, and he's have priority. and it's completely fine. I'm still not in the modus. Yeah. So far so good. And this is like the last match I lost. And I think he is the best Hungarian fencer at the moment. I'm not quite sure. I think he's I don't want to spread misinformation, but he is definitely one of the best Hungarian fencers at the moment. 70 to 10. That's at 37 to 9. He's definitely really good. Must be. No. Jakob is, I think, is the. Or is it the same? He's better, but he's one of the best Hungarian fans at the moment. So, and he's really good. He's really good. Okay, repeat that. Not focused. Yeah. Going for the left side, he's blocking it, and then not even quite riposting, I think. I think that would be actually too not enough, because he's just going for the Zwerg. Yeah, I think this was like the thing. I know what this was. Yeah. Yeah, I know what this was, because they was discussing if this strike was enough. So there's also one thing we need to add in priority, especially in right of way, and especially when it comes to Slovakia. And this is Slovakian tournament. Slovakia has allows flat hits in competition. This is the one thing I kind of dislike, or it's actually the one thing I dislike about right of way rules in Slovakia, is that flat hits count, and it changes the way people fence, because when flat hits count in competition, there is actually no need to make a change on the grip of your sword. So then you always can stay in thumb grip. I'll show you. So normally you standing like this. Normally you need to change between those two grips. So this is the classic handshake grip, and with this grip you can make actually strikes with the long edge and the short edge. And you need to have these kind of grip on the sword to strike all kinds of Oberhaus, and that they actually land with the true edge. So you have edge alignment. When you are changing to the thumb grip, you will do probably most of the shield and Zwerghaus out of it. But when you don't have, when flat hits count in competition, there is actually no need to get out of this position, because now you can strike all the things from the thumb grip, and it doesn't matter if the strike will go flat. So when I strike out of the thumb grip and making an Oberhau, it will 100% always be flat, And so this makes fencing quite easy, but it also makes it a little bit, I would say, awful to watch, because plenty of stuff are always flat. And in this situation, they count if the strike was enough. So yeah, whatever enough means. Yeah, he's not. I think it wasn't like this. It wasn't like this. It was more flat. And I was discussing back and forth, and and I was like calling. And at this point, they hit me to the leg, and they was like, well, no, hit to the leg, but it wasn't enough. Whatever. and I think they say it was no exchange. Yeah, no score. Yeah, wonderful. So you see the distance again, and the absolute crazy amount of lunge he's doing. Like from an athletic perspective, this is crazy. And then he hits to the knee, and I'm just like, no way that he will hit me. No freaking way. And just like, I'm like, okay. And now I'll wake it up. Yeah, it is yeah, it is kind of well discussed rule set right away. So yeah, I understand when people might not like it. Yeah, it's actually a good point, James. It probably, so in Austrian rules this would never be enough, because in Austrian rules, when you get parried, you need a certain amount of space to renew the attack. So when you get parried and then someone goes away and you just touch him, then it didn't get a point, so you don't get a point. But they don't have this in Slovakia, so it's fine. Yeah, the historical context is Elias. The historical context is something else. You know, you have also the historical context is something else, because you also have techniques like the Prellhau from the Maya for Kunst des Fechtens manuscripts. So there are well record flat hits that is actually decent historical techniques. But the question is, what do you want to see in tournament and competition? And I figured out quite early on that when you allow flat hits in competition, the competition gets ugly quite soon. So I think that when you are designing a rule set, you should always think about hit quality, and edge alignment is always an important part of hit quality. You shouldn't allow flat hits. But yeah, you can come to Austria. We have the main problem we have in Austria is actually judging, and I'm calling out myself because I'm a judge in Austria as well. But we have a new rule set, so you can check it out at the UFF rule set, so the Austrian Foundation for HEMA. We uploaded it quite recently. Good question. The Austrian rule set, we have an Austrian federation, a HEMA federation for the country. It's easier to have an HEMA federation for a country with 9 million people. And the Austrians, as also the Slovakians and Polish people and the Germans, they have standardized rule sets that need to be used for ranking purposes. So we have an Austrian leaderboard, and if you want to have points for this leaderboard, you need to fence tournaments who are fenced under Austrian rules. So we have standardized rules for Austria, but because of HEMA and the whole discussion about right of way, after blow, and first touch, we actually have a modular system in Austria. That means that we have the possibilities to have an after blow rule set, and right of way rule set, and first touch rule set, with only one exception. If you want to fence first touch rule sets, you have bonus modulars on that. That means you need to adapt a certain rules, and so those bonus rules are something like no afterblow after strike the head, or priority of deep targets. So when one is striking to the hands and one is striking to the torso, that the one who strikes to the torso will get the point because of that. I will post it somewhere. but it's still, well, it's useless because it's not in English. At the moment, it's not in English, just in German. But we have like a modular rule set, so we have different rule sets in ones. Yeah, so you can just build your own rule sets out of the tools we provide. You know? Let's continue. Yeah, again, he is thrusting. I'm striking into preparation, and I think he's missing the thrust. Yeah. He's just missing it. Yeah. 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 And again, in wrong mindset, you know, you need to get these hand snipe out of the way before you strike. And I'm always going into the Nachreißen, you know. And the Nachreißen, this would be perfect in an afterburn rule set because I would score the point. But in right of way, when he's actually making the intention, I need to get the parry, you know. I need to get the parry first and then strike. And yeah, I at this point still don't get it. I'm sorry for it for his head because it was unnecessary. Yeah, missed that shield. Missed it. Yes, he's blocking it, and then yeah, and this is the thing. Completely flat, you know. This, I mean, I completely miss. Obviously, it is flat, but in this rule set, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine, and you need to deal with it. You know, you can complain about the rules all the time, but you need to deal with it. I don't know what this is. I'll just know. Yeah, but at this point, he is performing a thrust, and then he is changing his line of attack to a hand snap. And I'm striking in this. So I probably, yeah, get the point for it. He might complain, but we get the point, yeah. Yeah. Too close, too short. Just making a thrust, but I'm not committing it, you know? And he knows it. He sees this, he's like out of range, and instantly makes a counter thrust. Perfectly makes a counter thrust. This is like the amount of this is where, when it comes to fencing, this so many people think like talk all the time about techniques and so forth, and manuscripts and all of that. But the thing with fencing is that those skills, those distance management, the idea of timing, this is what you actually need to focus so much on in fencing, and he's like doing it perfectly. The thing is, you see Olympic fencing footwork, especially in this, and also plate work, because the Olympic stuff doesn't come from out of nowhere. It evolved from what we call historical fencing, but it's like the amount of athletic skills that is performed in HEMA nowadays, especially on this level of fencers, is just crazy, you know, because this is like, yes, I agree, but the thing is, the level of fencing is so high. It's crazy. And I think this was nothing, but I think he was like, yeah, again, that's the thing. He's not changing the thumb grip. You see it. See it. He's in the thumb grip, and then he continues, and he don't need to change. Taps with the flat on my hands, and I mean, I'm making also flat strike at this point, so we're flat for flat, so both stupid. And I'm also not changing out of the thumb grip, you see? So, so stupid. But he gains the right of way, and I think he gets the point, yeah. So it was crazy. It's really good. So this is like really good fencing, and you need to really appreciate the athletic effort that some people are putting into the sport. That's crazy. Yeah, it kind of looks up, but it connects with the flat, or it's just scratching the surface like this. So I think it would be both flat. But it doesn't matter because flat hits are allowed in Slovakia, so you have to deal with it. Oh well, and this was all of Slovakia, because the last one I made it to the elims, but the last fight of the elims, actually people standing a lot in front of the camera all the time, so it wasn't watchable. So okay, let's do this. So this is actually the finals of the Bavarian Championships. I managed to win, so this is like the first match I actually win. But this is kind of also an after pro rule set. It's more like a weighted doubles, so you have a priority head over shadow targets, but it is an 1 point rule set with it's actually the first hit rule set with weighted target areas, but not in the way of points. It is in way of priority of the targets. So when you're hitting into the hands and the other one hits you into the head, he gets the point, so that you understand the concept. And you have also a priority of two-handed attacks over one-handed attacks. So when someone is making a geisel or a one-handed thrust and the other one has both hands on the blade and striking you, he also will get the point. He's actually a clubmate of Rihanna, so I know him. This is like when you know people and know how to defense. Wow. Nice introduction. Yeah, the classic scenario. Again, as I'm in London, hitting to the hands and receive the shield how in the afterblow, he gets the point. This is like really tough when you're always changing between all the different rule sets. Also good. Now he's calling it that I hit him into the head and makes the same mistake as I did, because this is one match I actually saw, and he's making the same mistake I did in London, because this one wasn't with the edge. He hits me to the head and then it wobbles over the crossguard onto his head. And this judge perfectly saw it. He is also sawing it, and he was like, no, it was the head, but it wasn't actually to the head. That's the problem. Yeah, now it's priority, and I get the point. Okay. Yeah, stupid one-handed actions. Probably hitting him in front, I think into the preparation might have hit him. So he makes a shield how. And again, you see it? I'm still doing it. Why? It's just, it's stupid. Hitting me into the cross. I hit also into the cross, and then this one was the one I got the point from. Yeah. Because he was like, I'm not quite sure, and then, okay, like the last one was into the belly. Some is always it's telling me I need to shut up. I was right. No exchange, but it's fine. Yeah, this was the thing. I'm also kind of training because this is like nachreisen. You know, it's just you're gambling with he's missing. You're bringing the hands out of the way and then going to the head. You can do this, but it's you should do it differently, not like I'm performing it. Yeah. And this is actually perfect for, you see this? You know what they call this in the books? They call it a Zwerchhau. And it is an indes Zwerchhau. So this is actually, even though it's flat, okay, it's flat, just ignore it, it's flat. But this is actually textbook worthy Zwerchhau. So it comes actually when you make a Zwer first, or in this case was Overhau, and then someone responding with a Zwerchhau, you go underneath that Zwerchhau with your own Zwerchhau. So when people telling you tournament fencing has nothing to do with sources, this is actually quite textbook worthy, even though it's quite fast. Well, it was flat, but I get it. But yeah. Yeah. Easy hand snap there. Those are my classics. You know, I do them all the time. Again. Oh, that's stupid. I was like both in. And this is like, you see this? You see this? I'm in the forward movement and making the point downwards and then going up. And he is just straight going in. So we both hit, yes, but his thrust was definitely better. Okay, let's continue. Yeah. Hitting to the arm. And this is actually the way you need to parry, you know. He's coming with an overhaul, and you just go into the parry. Easy. And getting out of distance. Yeah, beautiful thrust. Beautiful thrust. Going in, connecting. And this is sometimes, and this is quite interesting. Sometimes this is everything you need. Just this here. You see this? Going into the center and a little bit out of the way, and in that moment I'm doing this, he is starting the thrust. I need to stop the whole movement, go back into the center, and at this point he's already in his strong, connecting into the mask, and in the moment you get that connection, you are already stronger. Even though I'm here fully strong, he has like the connection with my body, and this makes a bridge and perfectly thrust. And also kind of an upsets in there, and he's also connecting it, and then he's following with the crosscut to the top, performing beautiful upsets, and everything's fine. Beautiful thrust. Probably also the best action in this match. Yeah. Therefore, I get the one-handed thrust into the torso. He hits me in the hands, so I got priority. But I was a one-handed thrust, therefore, it's same level, you know, and therefore double hit. And he is reminding of me that I don't read the rule sets. Nah, okay. Stupid double hit, nothing special. Wonderful. And now I return that, and this is quite interesting because you see this rotational movement. What I'm doing here is I'm outside of the line and I rotate, but I stop mid-rotation, I stop here and go straight up, and he is, because he feels like I want to go to the other side, he's making the parry, and I'm staying, but I stay on this side, but I just, with this small rotation of tip, he was thinking, oh, I will go to the other side. And so I fake the Durchwechseln and go straight into that. And then I connect and instantly go for the parry and start to get into the Krieg and preventing him from doing an up blow. Yeah, I think they will. What? Yeah. He was like challenging, you know, I have hit him in the head, but I thrusted him and then blocked his, and he maybe wobbled the blade over mine to the head. Yeah, he says it's bent over the guard. This is actually quite hard to see, even this, but this was like thrust in preparation, one-handed. So he's coming at me, I'm going into that, and this is like really important. You see this here. When you are thrusting to the outer line of your opponent, so the side where his false edge is, you want to actually hit the arm for one particular reason. You want to hit the arm because when he is right-handed and he's going this way and you hit right into the biceps or the shoulder, you're pushing him back. And this stops him or prevents him from continuing his attack. It's not much, but you see that he's kind of pushed a little bit back. I break his fracture here, and then he misses his strike, or thrust. But it's really hard to see. He's seeing it because from him, for seeing his angle, he probably won't be able to see this. And then you have the video on the side. It's perfectly fine. But this is what proper judging should look like. You know, this is where I think judging is really good, because when you have like on the one side a judge and this side a judge, and he's like the main judge, and something happens on his side, you know, and he's raising the arm, I've seen so many times that main judge just outruling his side judge, even though the action is happening on this side of the fencing ground, you know. And this is a really good example of good judging, because he says, I don't see it. And he was like, because it was on my side. Then he's going. They discussed it, not sure, watching the video and say, okay, well, that's okay. It's to the arm. It misses, and it's fine. So perfectly fine. So this is how proper judging should look like. You know, you have two judges on each side, and they have kind of a priority on their side. When something is happening on his side, you know, like here, everything that happens here or here, then he probably will outrule him because he can't see what is hit here or like hit here. But when something happening on this side or on this side, you know, then he has like the priority. And both of those judges are really good. They know what they're doing. And this is what proper judging actually should look like. Yeah, stupid action. Sometimes there are tournaments where I see something in another field and I want to copy it, and then I do absolutely, nothing. But somehow I managed to get the double hit out of it. So I think it's 6-3 at this point. Yeah. Actually tough. Like making a thrust, but actually not quite committing it. Then getting the parry, and I think that might have landed. And then again, striking into the cross, and only this one. This is actually the thrust, the strike that lands and connects, and I get the point for. Yeah. But it's tough, you know. It's tough to see. And I think I get a point. And that's the match. 7-3. Yeah, so that was my matches for May. I think all that matter. Oh, we actually got the yeah, but you see, guys, all the people are standing in front of this, so it's not a good thing to watch. So you won't see much. Okay. Now we're going into the finals of the London HEMA Open with Anthony Whiskey and Miro Latella. And currently the two best longsword fencers on the planet. So Miro is first one, Anthony is second. And we will have a look into this amazing final because I heard it was quite close, but I haven't seen it now. So ignore this mark, doesn't matter. Yeah, so it's quite funny because Anthony is more fighting like me, but like 100 times better. And he's doing like the same shit. He's striking into that middle. He's going for the blade. Just provoking something in the middle and then strike to the hands. But Miro is just, yeah, heading after. But I think in this case, he didn't hit. So he heads into the hands and then lands into the crossguard. But let's see what the judges decide. Yeah, he gets the point from Miro. Ah, wonderful. Let's watch that wonderful ad before we continue. I need to get you the premium at this point. Okay. And continue. Yeah. And then with the second intention to the head, I think. Yeah, get 2 points because we didn't hit that. Yeah, probably. So let's watch this again. Wow, that's beautiful. Good thrust into the mask for 3 points. Let's see. Oh. Now I don't know exactly what this ruse should be. Okay. Now this is tough decision, actually. So he stepped out of the ring while he is grabbing the sword, and the ref says it's not enough quality. Well, that's a tough decision against Miro here, but it's okay. Yeah, beautiful. First one parried, then Zwer to the arms. The thing is, many people said that this fight is actually not a good fight because it's so messy and ugly. Many exchanges, but the problem is at this level of fencing, it's really, really hard, you know. At this level of fencing, it's really hard because first of all, both know each other and fenced each other for probably more than 20-30 times, you know. And the second thing is they are both on a level that they know every trick, every little movement in the blade of the opponent, and they just at some point need to guess, you know. They're just guessing what could work at that point. And at this point of fencing, it sometimes gets just messy. That's completely normal. And usually, one thing to add, usually fencing that actually looks good or is appealing to watch mostly happens when one of both fencers actually is bad and the other is really good, or the fencing level between two opponents is actually quite far away, because then the better fencer has it easier and then therefore can do better techniques that actually are not only looking better but also are more efficient, because the opponent, who's like not that good at fencing, gives them all the openings he needs to do the crazy good stuff, you know. So the higher the level of the fencing, the more it tends to get awful, but because fencing is really high. Yeah, the thing is, it's quite interesting discussion. We can talk about this. Let's talk about rule sets and whose fault is it after we watch this, because it's an interesting discussion I want to dive into. But still, at this point, no video challenge, and this is a tough one, I think. That's crazy. Two parries. And it's 5-5 again. And again, wonderful advertisement. Okay. And going back. So YouTube's getting out of hand. And that's funny to see the different guards they are standing all the time. Because Miro is always in some sort of an centered von dark kind of lang guard position, and Anthony is always staying in this lang point. Always. Beautiful. And this is where I actually kind of dislike afterblow rules, because this was just so clean, as really clean thrust to the neck, you know. And there are rule set aspects at this point where when you have a strike to the neck or to the head of the opponent, there shouldn't be an afterblow after that. And it's like, you see it connected beautiful to the neck. He's putting out of his structure and then just striking. And actually, for me, at this point, it is in the rules. It is perfectly in the rules, but he actually knows, he thrusts and then he makes a slight move to the side and he's just tamping to the head. And this is
yeah. No score for that is wild, but it is the ruse. It is the ruse. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, probably we get YouTube Premium in the future. Yeah. And this is, I don't know, parry post. And then maybe to the legs. Maybe. Yeah, to her. Great discussion. I think it was. Yeah. So it's perfectly fine. So what happens is he makes an initial attack, parries, making a strike to the hands, and Anthony is then just receiving the strike and then hits to the leg, or I think to the torso somewhere area there. And this is, we can look at the, can watch again. We can watch again. So when you see this, parry, strike to the hands, and then just dropping it because it's close enough into the legs, and Mira is trying to push it downwards, but it's hard to be done. You know, it's hard to be done because at this point, the idea of afterblow, you need to go in and making an upziehen, so you need to defend the afterblow. At some points, it's a little bit, yeah, because in some situations you just can't defend the afterblow, and it also sometimes doesn't make any sense. You know, he receives a cut to the hands and then goes to the leg. Yes, you do it because of the rule sets, but at this point it's just there needs some sort of extra implementation to prioritize some situations, like the clean thrust to the neck, and then he's just striking to the head and it's double point, no points. Or he makes perfect parry post and still don't get any points. And this is like, yeah, that's at some point it's tough to watch, and it's also tough to understand for the audience. You know, when you have like an audience who has nothing to do with HEMA, for example, and you try to explain this situation, and he's like, but he's pairing it and then making beautiful cut to the hands. Yeah, but the other one has got afterblow to the leg, and therefore both get 2 points. Hard to think, but again, it's nothing about defenses. It's not about defenses, but some rule sets. Some ideas in the rule sets where the afterblow has kind of faults in it, I would say. If Miro moved to his right while he reposed, he would have had more time and better body positioning. I doubt it. I don't think so. He probably will, even if he stepped out of to the side. He even with this the strike to the leg would still hit. It would still hit probably, because when you're like this, you also can do this. You know, you can go even to the side. So I don't think that this matter. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe both. And it's crazy that they have no video challenge, you know? This is it's crazy at this point. Yeah. I don't think so. I probably don't think so. Oh well yes, actually, yeah. Because he is making a shield going he's going for the hands. he hitting with a thrust to the torso. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's good. I think he also hits to the torso. Yeah. But this one, I would say this one, it's hard to see. Hard to tell, you know? It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell because, again, they are doing what I can't do at the moment. He's pulling back, getting hit into the hands, and then instantly move forwards. So it's fine. You can judge it this way, you know? Yeah, he's complaining because he was like probably thinking otherwise because out of tempo, but it's fine. And at this point, when you have like, I mean, I probably don't want to be him. I don't want to be him when the two best in the world are fencing and you don't have any video challenge. That's tough. That's a tough one, you know. So 6-6. That's crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I see more than one strike. I think that could have connected. And that connected definitely. This one, even just with the tap, and Miro is just losing his whole body. So he probably would have omitted. And then shield both to the head. So yeah. I don't think so. Maybe. Maybe Frost. Yeah, no. This just. Oh, maybe. But I think it was more like 3-2 or 2-2. But not 1 point. Yeah, probably it was the arm. It was not. Again. So just an amazing thrust. But with the Shilhao, he taps over. But with the Shilhao, he taps over the crosscut. That's the thing with the Shilhao, you know. That's why it's so good of a strike. It's so hard to master, but it's so good of a strike, because that's exactly that, you know. When you do the Oberhau, you just go straight into the crosscut. So when you have like here the crosscut, you go straight into the crosscut and nothing happens. But with the Shilhao, you bend over that crosscut, and now you hit the head. So this is like that's why the Shilhao is the best in-dash action you can do, because you are striking over those parries when you use it correctly. I can go frame by frame with the buttons on the... I don't think so. I can... Oh! Monarch fencing best man. Thank you. Yeah, okay. I didn't notice. Okay, okay. New things learned. That's a tough one. At this point, I think at this point, they just try to land a lucky punch, I think. Yeah, he's pulling up. This one actually flat might not count. He's going into that torso, but head over torso. So probably 1 point. No, one. You can judge it also that way. Eight to 7. So now probably he tries to... Yeah. At this point, both are just... I don't want to fence anymore. Probably. But it was... Yeah. So at this point... Congratulations to Miro. Even congratulations to him on the... Finally, he's rated first on HEMA ratings. In Longsword, he really deserves it. I think he didn't even have one loss the whole year. I think he's not even losing one single match in a year. Okay, well, double loss here. Interesting. But he wins all of that, he wins all of that, he wins all of that, and he wins all of that. So in this year, he didn't even lose one single match. And for that, it's well deserved and well earned. So congratulations to him. And that's all the fights for today. Yes, those are all the fights. But I want to have a bit of a discussion. So if you want to participate, to drop your opinions into the chat, because it came up a certain thing about monarch fencing said, I often find it be a symptom of rusets, not defenders. And this will be the last point for today. And then I will head some food. Because I don't think that this is the case. I think that rusets are probably, or I would say that the fencers need to be educated in some way, you know? They need to be educated in some way. And the rules are quite oftenly educate the people. So when we think about right of way, for example, the core concept, you can think about right of way what you want, but the core concept of right of way is I want to deny or deflect any threats coming in before I start my own. And therefore, I want my opponent doing the same. The concept of that is as historical as the afterblow reset, because the afterblow reset has the other way around. I want to hit, but also don't want to get hit in any way or form while I'm into this exchange. So I want to hit, but my opponent just don't drop that, you know. He riposte. But the way rules are sometimes enforced aren't that easy. And I also think that there won't be any rule sets in the near future that will change that. And we have so many different rule sets, and we all have a lot of discussion at different tournaments and events. There isn't any rule set out there that changes the fact that afterblows will always appear. They will always happen. And it doesn't matter what rule sets you fence. You need to look it from a different perspective. You always need to watch a rule set from the viewer's perspective, never from the fences or from the judge's perspective. You need to make rules in a way that the audience can understand what happens. Because when you want to design rules in a way that no double hits will ever occur, I've fenced plenty of those rule sets, and it doesn't change anything. You know, at some point you have actions who have more priority than other actions, and some actions you want to see more than the other actions, so you prioritize these actions, and if you don't want certain other actions, then you nerf those actions, and it's always a bit an up and down. For example, 4 years ago or 3 years ago, when I started tournament fencing, there was a certain meta in Longsword fencing, and the meta was one-handed actions. Everyone was doing it. Everyone was doing a geisel, one-handed thrusts, and so on, all the time. And then tournaments around the world start to punish those actions. What they did, they enforced rules that says, for example, if there is a double hit and one fencer has one hand on the weapon and the other has two hands on the weapon, then the one with two hands gets the point. So they nerfed one-handed actions quite well, in my opinion. And then suddenly one-handed actions start to disappear, or when they appear in tournaments, they are actually performed quite well. And when they are not performed quite well, they get punished. And only that is possible throughout rule sets. And the fencer is only fencing in the way someone is expecting him to fence. And that's always the case, because you have fencers who says, or even if you start out with beginners, for example, what to teach them. You teach them, yeah, you need to get hit without being hit. Then they get hit while they hit. But how do you educate it, you know? And right of way, for example, as a thing from history, right of way was actually designed to implement a mindset that also would appear in a real duel. So right of way was like a lot of manuscripts to talk about right of way tell exactly this. You shouldn't strike to the leg because then you lose priority, for example. Because for example, in the real fight, for example, someone strikes to your head, to your leg, and I'm like, yeah, probably I hit him in the head, because, yeah, should he cut me to the leg, is probably more survivable than hit to the head. And it also right of way teaches that you need to defend yourself first, and then use your right to attack. Well, it's basically also a real duel, you know? You just don't want to get harmed. And Afterblow, just repeating myself, is doing exactly the opposite. You know, Afterblow is doing exactly the opposite. They say, yeah, well, okay, you go in, but you need to cover yourself because I'm not dropping that to the ground. And no matter how you do rule sets or you interpret them, it doesn't matter. People always will find a way around those rules or will try to game it in always we find a way to find a way around this, and I think that you should never fence only one rule set. This is why I compete internationally in all different tournaments, because I think we need all three kinds of tournaments rule sets. We always need right of way, we always need afterblow, and we always need the first touch. Because only the one, and this is the closest we can get to actually really good fencing, is you need to be able to fight under all three conditions. So therefore, my opinion is, every rule set can have its flaws, and it's fine, and you will probably never evolve the rule set that it is perfect. But when you want to actually fence well, then fence all kinds of rule sets. Implement it also into your training at your club. Just say, well, today we fight afterblow, and tomorrow we will fight right away, and the day after we fight first touch. And somewhere in the middle, you will have the perfect rule set. But the fencer is only fencing in a way that it is expected from them. And at some point, you need to teach people, to what is actually fencing, what is good fencing, what's bad fencing, what is good behavior, and what's bad behavior. And no matter how much you hate rules, everyone has rules, but because without rules, you probably, you can't fence without rules, because when to stop? When do you stop? When you don't have any rules, So every club, and I've fenced people say, well, I don't like rule sets, and every rule set is bad, and then you talk about sparring with them, and when to stop. Yeah, we'll do it like this and that, and I'm like, yeah, then you have a rule, then you have a rule set in your club you're fencing. And I think we shouldn't focus too much about the individual rule set. I think we should focus more on the fencing philosophy behind it. Every rule set teaches a fencing philosophy, and we need to understand the fencing philosophy behind it to understand the rules. So we will never have one HEMA rule set. We never will, and I think it's actually good. And I think it's good that is this way. But what I see in the latest past is that there are rules who coming close together. They are closer and closer growing together, and all the afterblow rule sets there are quite similar to each other, and all the right of way rule sets there are quite similar to each other, and also the first touch rule sets are quite similar to each other, and they also borrow ideas from each other. For example, I've in Polish rules, when you're fencing saber, you have an afterblow rule set, but you have, for example, priority of parry post. So they have an afterblow rule set, but they borrow an idea from right of way. What's perfectly fine, and you have a lot of crossovers and combinations. Yeah, but I can't just ramble all day long about this topic, because it's the most discussed topic when it comes to tournament fencing. Yeah, it's needed at judging. When there's an issue, it often stems for inconsistent judging. It's also not judging. We need to be clear on one certain thing. The problem we have, or what we're facing, is when it comes to rule sets. The one is hating on the rule set, the other hates on the judges, one says on the fences. We need to accept one harsh reality. HEMA is getting fast, and even longsword and fencing is actually a really fast sport. And when we look at sports fencing, you don't see shit in without a camera, you know. And we're getting to that point in HEMA 2. The question is, how fast is too fast that we can allow judges operating without hyperspeed cameras? And I think when it comes to weapon weight and edge alignment, those are two indicators what actually stops HEMA to getting even more fast than it already is. So yes, we have bad judges. Yes, we have inconsistent rule sets. And yes, we have fencers. We have tournament fencers who are actually not operating on a level, yeah, including myself, that it actually operating on a level that is actually good to judge. You know, there are fencers out there that when people need to, even the best judges standing around them and says, I don't know what to call here because they're both doing just separate things. I've seen bouts where fencers just, I don't know, working more against the air between them than against each other, you know, and you don't know what to call. So we have, like, in all three categories, we have fencers who are not on a level where we can actually, yeah, we have fencers who are not good enough for tournaments, participating in tournaments. We have rule sets that are quite inconsistent and kind of laggy. And we have judges who need definitely more training because we don't have like certified HEMA judges in most of the countries. So we have in all three categories, we have actual problems. But I think the more we participate in tournaments, the bigger the community gets. And also, it's also a thing, the more kind of money involved in it, yeah, the better everything gets. But we need to also focus kind of not getting too close to the path the sport fencing actually did. Because when you have rule sets that are 200 pages long, then something is off too, you know. And yeah. So to make closing words, I think HEMA is on a really good path. Really good. And we're getting closer to develop this sport into an actual sport, not just a hobby. And I think that's amazing. And this last match about Anthony and Miro shows me that there is so much more possible for most of us. So yeah, there's a problem with being able to see stuff properly at a high level, yeah, but we would already have much better accuracy if judges got training instead of sending 3 random people in there. Yeah, but the problem is nobody wants to judge. That's the main problem. Why? Because first of all, judging is work, and sometimes we don't deal it as work. Judges get paid, but imagine giving 50 euros or 50 bucks for a whole day of work. That's like way below minimal wage for European and US standards. US don't have minimum wage, but for European standards, it's way. So this is just, yeah, that's the main problem, because people would judge if you, and would also train judging if they actually kind of making a living out of it. What is not the case in HEMA, because we are in a hobby, you know. So to blame the judges, we can do this, but we need to find out ways how to make judging actually a thing for people who say, I want to be good at judging, and it's worth investing real time in it because I have a net zero output. Because at the end, the first person who gets shit is always the judge. Never participated in one single tournament in the HEMA community where at least one person is rambling about the judges. and also quite careful lately about talking too much, talking too bad about judging, because in some points there's bad judging, but at some points you also need to think about how many decisions they are doing and how many of those decisions are wrong. And when you have like 90% accuracy and 10% are mistakes, then that's pretty damn good. You know, that's pretty good. And you will never probably have perfect judges in any sport. You see it even in football. You have misjudgment, and there's a lot of money involved. So yeah. So okay. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed nearly 3 hours me talking about my tournament fights, rambling about tournament resets and so on. And probably I try to do this more regularly, maybe once or twice a month. Let's see. And hope you have fun and enjoyed. And we will see us soon in the next video. I will post something on Tuesday, I think. So